Welcome back, everybody. It is Thursday, October 22nd, 2020. Tonight, we got the Giants facing off against the Eagles. I'm sorry I got this podcast out, one day later than I wanted to. I'm sorry about not having one last week. My neck was killing me. I couldn't turn my head. Bad week, but I did get a microphone. The audio quality from here on out is going to be outstanding. This week, it's just me. We got me talking last week's NFL action of Week 6, some upcoming Week 7 action. I got some bets picked out for you guys. I'm going to dabble in a little World Series action there. It's going to be a good one. Stick around. Let's get to the episode. Week 6 of the NFL is over. We had a fun weekend. We had some good matchups. Let's get to it. Titans and Texans. Fun game, but Derrick Henry remains king. 212 yards on the ground and 2 touchdowns. It's only the Texans' second week without O'Brien. Playing an undefeated Titans team who, by the way, has dealt with Corona the past 2 weeks. They had a Tuesday game. Texans had an extra 2 days of rest. Still couldn't get the job done. This Texans roster doesn't impress me. They have their quarterback in Deshaun Watson. They have a good left tackle in Laramie Tunsil. Their receivers are iffy. They're lacking a number one, DeAndre Hopkins. Their defense is old. They only have, J.J. Watt when he's healthy is amazing. Justin Reed's good, I guess, but they don't have, Zach Cunningham's not bad. They just don't have the right, they need to rebuild, basically. Now, don't get rid of Deshaun, but they need to rebuild. And Deshaun only signed an extension of 4 years, and I believe he's got 2 years left on his contract. So, they'll give him another 6 years? That's enough time to build a team around him rather than forcing him into a situation. Build the team around him. Maybe you can keep him even longer. But right now, he only signed a 4-year deal, or a 4-year extension. So, I don't know if he wants to stay there. It's really going to depend on who they get with this next head coach and how their picks go. Let's talk about the Ravens now. They were up 17-0 at half. They won 30-28. How good are they? Are the Ravens good? Yes. Did they go 14-2 last year? Yes. Did they gain pieces? Yes. But, they looked terrible against the Chiefs. They looked overmatched, right? And then now they're up against a Philadelphia team. Half of them are in the hospital, and they score 13 points in the second half and let Philly come back lose by 2. And they have one of the best defenses in the league. How good are they? I don't know. We'll see in Week 8. They play Pittsburgh in Baltimore. That'll be a good one. Or will it? Obviously we all expect it to be a good one, but I kind of feel like Pittsburgh's going to steamroll them. This Ravens team they're just going to bully the bad teams, and they're going to lose to the good teams. I don't see them doing much, but I could see them getting on a run in the playoffs. Not that they should, but that they will. Are the Browns legit, or are the Steelers legit? All right, Browns, we have this conversation every year. They have, not every year, but recent years, they have a lot of talent. They have some good wins, and then they have some bad losses. And that's what happened this past weekend. They got blown out not blown out, but they got destroyed by Pittsburgh. If you watch the game, it wasn't close. There's no question who's going to win the game. Pittsburgh is real. Is Pittsburgh that good that they made the Browns look bad again? Or the Browns not that good and they made Pittsburgh just look amazing? And I'm going to say the Browns aren't bad. They're just not quite ready, to be atop the AFC. But I will say Pittsburgh actually is legit. I think Pittsburgh is one of the best teams in the league. That goes without saying. They're 5-0, 6-0. They're undefeated. I think they're 5-0. They're undefeated. We'll see how they do in Baltimore. They still got to play Baltimore twice, so there's a lot of season left. I'm liking Pittsburgh. I think they're legit. The Bears are 5-1, and no one would have predicted this before the season. No one would have predicted this after they went 3-0. It's ridiculous. They're 5-1 with Nick Foles at the helm. It's a weird one. This week they play in LA against the Rams. They're projected to lose. I don't hate them winning though. Are they a great team? Not really. They're great. Their coach's great, but they don't have a quarterback. They don't really have an offense. They have Allen Robinson. Their O-line's all right. Tariq Cohen's out. David Montgomery's good. who else are you going to throw to, though? I mean, Jimmy Graham's actually not doing bad this season. It's just, it's a weird one. But they are 5-1. I think at this point in the season, they've earned some respect. And that they are looking like a playoff team, especially, I mean, even without the expanded playoffs this year, they're looking like a playoff team. I don't know much about their upcoming schedule or what they're looking like, but I can see them going to the playoffs, possibly even winning, against the Seahawks team. The Giants get their first win. Doesn't really count. It was against Washington in the NFC least. That division is horrible. I don't know what else to say. I mean, but Giants got their first win, which kind of sucks for them because now they aren't going to get Trevor Lawrence, or at least as of now. I mean, I don't know if the Jets are going to win a game or even be close. But, I mean, yeah, that's good news for Joe Judge. I don't know, trying to turn that Giants franchise around. They haven't been the same in a while. Broncos take down the Patriots in Foxborough. This was an interesting game. I believe Brandon McManus kicked 6 field goals. I know he kicked 5, and he had to kick 6. What am I thinking? Yeah, he kicked 6 field goals. Patriots did not look great. Belichick was frustrated. I don't think the Patriots did anything they wanted to do all game. The Broncos played solid. Broncos well coached, Vic Fangio. Patriots obviously well coached. Cam Newton didn't have his greatest game. It's not a question as to if the Broncos are legit. They're not. They're just too hurt. Next year, yeah. This year, no. But it's more, what are the Patriots? I mean, I believe they're 2-4. I mean, just lost at home to Denver. Is it the players? Is it the coaching staff? Is it the team? Like, what is the problem? Where's the future? Where are they going? Can they still make the playoffs? Will they still make the playoffs? There's a lot of questions surrounding that Patriots team right now. And if I'm going to put my opinion out there, I say, yeah, they make the playoffs. Yes, they turn around, but the team is just not gelling right now. I mean, they had a little corona scare a week or two ago. But I think they'll turn around. We'll start talking about how Cam's resurrected his career, blah, blah, blah. It'll get there. Let's talk about the Dolphins. Tua was named the starter. Surprise move, surprised everyone. I mean, Fitzpatrick was balling. Dolphins were 3-3. I mean, he had just he blew at the Jets. Don't count that. That was their second win against the Jets. But they blew out the 49ers. So, I mean, obviously it's Fitzpatrick. He's going to have a down week at some point. But they go ahead and name Tua the starter. Is he ready? I don't know. I mean, I'm not in that organization. He didn't look bad, but he didn't really have real plays. It sucks because Fitzpatrick was, like I said, he was balling out. The dude was throwing some magic. I mean, he got this Dolphins team to 3-3, and now he's letting Tua take over, and he's happy for the guy. But I mean, he came out and said his heart hurt all day whenever they announced Tua starter. It's just been tough for him, and I feel for the guy. I mean, he's having one of his best seasons. He's on a, I want to call it, the Dolphins are a good team. I'm not afraid to say it. They're a good team. They're well coached. One of my favorite coaches is Brian Flores. And they have talent on both sides of the ball. I guess, look, we'll see if Tua is the real deal. I just hope the Dolphins aren't afraid to go back to Fitzpatrick. I mean, Tua, he's a rookie. He has growing pains. He's going to. If he's Joe Burrow or not, like, whoever it is going to have it. And we'll see that. We'll see if he's ready, how his hip's doing, how he gels with us, the team. But it kind of sucks for players like Devontae Parker and Mike Gesicki who, had started to bond with Fitzpatrick. And it sucks for Fitzpatrick who's bonded with, the fans. He's bonded with everybody over there in Miami. But yeah, Tua, keep an eye out on him. I mean, obviously the whole sports world will be. He's making his first start this upcoming week, or no, 2 weeks. I believe they're going to a bye now. But yeah, I honestly I don't think he's going to be ready. I think he'll play all right. Maybe like Justin Herbert in his first game. I don't think he'll have the impact Herbert has for the Chargers. But I just hope the Dolphins aren't scared to put Fitzpatrick back in if Tua is not ready. If Tua is balling out, leave him in, let him grow, let him learn. But if he's doing mediocre and you can get to the playoffs, you got to put Fitzpatrick back in. And I guarantee you we'll be talking about this in a few weeks. Moving back to the NFC, let's talk Cowboys. They're terrible. The Cowboys, they're a horrible team. I mean, without Dak Prescott. With Dak Prescott, their offense is great. Defense is still terrible on the field. Coaching is terrible. I mean, Cowboys players came out and said that the coaches were unprepared, had no idea what they're doing. I mean, against the Cardinals team that had just, I believe it just lost 2 games. I mean, the Cardinals have been struggling. No, they beat the Jets. But before that, they had lost 2 games. But they were struggling, trying to find out who they were. And the Cowboys are doing the same thing. And you go into AT&T, where Kyler Murray, going into the game, was 6-0 in AT&T Stadium, playing down there in Allen, Texas. That's his home field, you know? And for the Cowboys to just get blown out, not even close. I mean, who's to blame? And the players are blaming the coaches. I guess it's really not a question. Everyone's saying the coaches. Yeah, Zeke had 2 fumbles that I believe led to 2 touchdowns for the Cardinals early in the first half. And I don't know. I mean, I think one of the best things the Cowboys have is possibly Kellen Moore. I mean, I feel bad for him now that he's got to deal with Andy Dalton, but I think he's a good play caller, and it'd be dumb if he got fired, but it'd be good for the rest of the league if they want to pick him up. A game that was played, or supposed to be played Thursday, got moved to, was it Monday? Yeah, it got moved to Monday. Kansas City, Buffalo. Bills lost to the Chiefs, to me, doesn't really mean anything, except they could have used Le'Veon Bell. I mean, the game, it was wet, it was raining, it was damp, whatever the weather conditions were, they weren't good for passing the ball. Josh Allen did not look good. I mean, he looked fine. His throws weren't good, but I don't blame him as much for that. I blame the weather. I don't think there was much to take away from this game. I mean, like I said, it was rainy, it was wet, the ball was damp. Wasn't good conditions, but we did get to see the Bills' inability to not only stop the run, but to get the run game going. And if you can't run the ball, well, if you can't pass because of the weather in Buffalo, well, they weren't in Buffalo. They are a team in Buffalo is where I'm getting at, where it rains a lot. But if you can't pass and you're forced to run, but you can't even run the ball, and then you go back to having to pass, especially if you're down and you got to catch, it's just not a good recipe. So they got to figure out that run game. I mean, they don't have a bad O-line. I mean, they have playmakers on the outside to help, level out the field horizontally, open up the run game. But Devin Singletary and Zach Moss were not getting the job done. I mean, I hate to say it, but Frank Gore, who was there last year, could have been a big help this past weekend. And if they would have got Le'Veon, obviously he wouldn't have helped. He wouldn't have played this week. But looking at that Bills team and how their running game, I believe, only amassed 68 yards, or at least between the running backs, I mean, they could have used Le'Veon Bell. Okay, we did get some news yesterday, early this morning. It is Thursday. So let's talk Antonio Brown to the Seattle Seahawks. First, when I read this, like most of you, was probably thinking, "Oh, okay, they're interested. Like, it's probably not going to work out." This stuff, the rumors happen with AB and Dez and all this with the Ravens and the Seahawks and other teams, and it doesn't usually work out. But the more I kept hearing about it, more sources kept not denying it. And the Seahawks are a team that actually would do this. The way I kept hearing about it, I'm thinking, okay, he'll probably go to Seattle. I mean, he'll practice. He'll probably fight someone in practice, start going crazy, and then he won't ever play. He might line up for one game, not get the ball, start complaining, and then not play. They'll cut him. That was what was going through my head first, and I started thinking, it's like, okay, it is the Seahawks. Pete Carroll is the coach to go get AB, and just for this season, turn him back into a reliable receiver. Especially this season that they're letting Russ, do whatever he wants. But Pete Carroll's the guy to do this. And so I'm thinking about it, and the more I think about it, the more realistic it becomes to me that, hey, he actually he actually can do something this season. He can really help that Seattle team if he can relax. And like I said, with Pete Carroll on top of having Russell Wilson there, I think that's the right combination. And that they're in Seattle in a small, not small market, but a more excluded market, up there in the Northwest. I think it's the perfect place for him to resurrect his career. The problem is going to be, next season if he goes to another team. How's he going to react? I mean, depending on where that team is, what their situation is. But I think this season it actually can work out. All right, early this morning, we got an update. Yannick Ngakoue traded to Baltimore from Minnesota for a 2021 third-round pick and a 2022 fifth-round pick. Now, he was traded right before the season from Jacksonville for a 2021 second-round pick and a conditional fifth. So, basically, Jaguars traded Ngakoue. They got an extra second, and they got a conditional fifth, which if Ngakoue made the Pro Bowl, the pick moves to a fourth rounder. If the Vikings win the Super Bowl, the pick moves to a third rounder. Something to do with it, but I mean, the way it's looking, it's going to be a fifth round pick. Baltimore, on the other hand, so they lost their third and fifth. So I guess the Vikings gained a third. They lost the second, gained a third. They lost their fifth, gained a fifth. Bad trade overall for the Vikings to acquire him. I mean, I believe it was a good trade to get him away. I haven't heard much. I don't know how he was doing this season. It couldn't have been great because the Vikings have not been great. But good pickup for Baltimore. I mean, add him to a loaded defense that's one of the best in the leagues. I mean, they need some defensive help. They need offensive help. They need a lot to be a outstanding team and contend with these teams that are complete. But I think maybe they also just need experience. And Ngakoue, he brings some of that. Not a lot of winning experience, but he brings, some passion. But yeah, that's some update right there. Last update. So Raiders and Buccaneers game that was I believe to be Sunday night football was moved to Sunday afternoon. Seahawks and Cardinals was moved to Sunday night. The Raiders' entire line is now on the COVID-19 list after Trent Brown tested positive. So I don't know if that means they're not playing this weekend, the O-line. So here's the thing. The Raiders are supposed to play this weekend, but they don't know if they will or not. That's why they moved them from the Sunday night game so the NFL can guarantee a Sunday night game. And if they do play, they'll just play in the afternoon. But there will be a Sunday night game. That's the good news. Bad news is if the Raiders do play Sunday afternoon, I don't know if any of their offensive line is playing. They're all on the COVID-19 list, all starters. To me, that means no, but it's hard to... I mean, if it was one or two of them, or even three of them, I'd believe it. But now all five, I mean, are the Raiders going to fight this? What's going on? What's the deal with all that? I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. All right, we're going to try a new segment this week. It's a betting segment, right? So I went ahead and looked at the NFL Week 7, like the upcoming week. So what bets do I like? What bets would I, put money on? This week I found 6. All right, we have Packers minus 3.5 at Texans. Packers I believe, obviously I picked this for a reason. I believe the Packers will win by way more than 3.5. I'd probably take an alternative spread. They'd probably win by more than 10. I mean, they're in Houston, but I mean, who cares? Houston's terrible. I mean, they're still trying to figure out what to do on both sides of the ball. I mean, they have Romeo Crennel as an interim, and he's a good coach, but I mean, I don't know, especially after the Packers coming off a blowout to the Buccaneers. I think that's what's causing this point spread to be so minimal. And I think the Packers, like I said, I believe are going to blow the Texans out the water. So Packers minus 3.5, that'll hit. Panthers at Saints plus 7.5. I like the Panthers, winning. I don't think the Saints are a great team, especially now. Michael Thomas is out again. He got surgery this morning, I believe. So he's out this week. It's just, I don't think the Saints are that good. Even with Michael Thomas, they're a little more dynamic. They can do more things on the offensive side of the ball. I'm not scared of the Saints, though. They're not a team I go, we play the Saints this week. That's gonna be tough. That's probably a loss. I wouldn't mark it as a loss on the schedule. It's not like you're playing the Chiefs. So yeah, Panthers plus 7.5. I mean, if they lose, I believe it'll be like a touchdown or less. So I'm taking Panthers plus 7.5. I think that'll hit. All right, most of you aren't gonna like this. Broncos Chiefs. Broncos are plus 9.5. I'm taking the Broncos. I don't think they'll win, but I think they'll make it interesting, and I think it'll be close. They're at home. It's a division game, and those can go either way. I like the Broncos this week losing a close one. 49ers at New England. Okay, 49ers get blown out by the Dolphins, come back, beat the Rams on Monday night. I think that was Monday night. Beat the Rams. Now they're going to New England. I think they kind of got some swagger back. I mean, New England just lost at home to the Broncos. And it's hard. Do the Patriots lose 2 games in a row? I don't know. But 49ers are plus 115. I like those odds. I'll go ahead and take a risk and put my money on that game. Raiders and Bucks. Raiders are plus 133. Like we said, the Raiders will beat good teams, or they have beat good teams. They've shown up when it matters. The Bucks, same. They beat the Packers, but they lost to bad teams. I can't. I know they lost to the Saints the first week of the season. They lost to the Bears this past Thursday. So I had this bet picked initially, but now that the Raiders' whole O-line is probably out, as what it seems, I'm taking this bet off. I actually now like the Bucks to win. I don't remember the point spread, but if in this game I'd go Bucks. Last pick of the weekend, Bears and Rams. Bears are plus 210. Like I said, the Bears are sneaky. They're 5-1. The Rams they're also sneaky, but they did just lose to the 49ers. McVay will have them back on track, but will they be ready? I think the Bears will be ready. With these odds at plus 210, I mean, that's, you bet $10, you're winning a little over 30. You're gaining twice your money. I like the odds on this game. Not that I think the Bears will win, but I think there's a good chance they could. I'd put money on that game. All right, that's the betting segment this week. I'm gonna try to do that every week. See how I like it. See how I can advance it, move it around, stuff like that. How to make it better. But yeah, I hope you guys like it. Let me know. Let's move on. Thursday night football. That's tonight. I know podcast is out a little late. Giants at Eagles. Like I mentioned earlier with Broncos and Chiefs, it's a division game. I don't really think the records matter. Anything can happen. Division games we've seen in the past, we'll see in the future. It's always going to be a thing. They play each other twice a year. They know each other. It's always going to be a thing. And this year, the Giants know the Eagles. The Eagles don't know the Giants. Helps. The Giants are plus 4.5. The money lines for them is at 200. Philadelphia, obviously, minus 4.5. Their money line's minus 235. I'd put money on the Giants. I think they can take down this Eagles team. Eagles looked terrible first half last week. Looked great second half, though. I think Deshaun Watson, not Deshaun, I think Deshaun Jackson has a big game tonight. So if you can pick him in some daily fantasy leagues, or if you're doing DraftKings, FanDuel, whatever it is, I believe Deshaun Jackson has a big game tonight. I think Eagles ultimately win the game. I don't know how much, but I think it'll be a close one. It should be a good game. Like I said, it's a division game. 2 terrible teams in the NFC least, but division game. Anything can happen. Anything's up for grabs. I'll say this is a bigger game. It's a big game for both teams, right? Eagles want to win because they can go to the playoffs. Giants, they want to win, but if you're a Giants fan, you want them to lose. I mean, they're not doing it. They're a terrible team. They need a quarterback. Sorry, Daniel Jones, but they need they need everything. It's a big game for both teams. But on the bright side, if the Eagles win, it's good news for both. If the Giants win, it's bad news for both. Unless you're a Giants player, because obviously your team wins. Good for you. Good for your team. Help you out in your contract, whatever. But that's it for football. Let's move on to some MLB. Just get you caught up in what happened in the playoffs. Both games went Game 7. It's the first time in a while that both the ALCS and NLCS both went to 7. So Rays Astros. Rays went up 3-0. Okay. Only one other time in history has the team that's down in a 3-0 series came back to even get to a Game 7. And that was the Red Sox against the Yankees in 04 or 06. I don't remember the year. That was the first time anyone's came back, and they actually won it. This year, it's the second time anyone's ever come back down 3-0, except for the Astros lost. And Rays got off Game 7. Rays got off to a hot start. It wasn't over from the beginning. I mean, baseball goes 9 innings. There's no time limit. We all know that. It's never over. But it kind of just took the air out of the stadium. I mean, even if there's no fans, it was kind of dull. The final was, I believe, 4-2. Astros, they gained 2, but it was an interesting Game 7. Good one for the Rays, moving on to their second World Series ever. Good for them. Dodgers. So Braves took the first 2, went up 2-0. Dodgers took Game 3, went up cut that in half, down 2-1. Braves took Game 3. They're up 3-1. Braves win 1 game, World Series. Dodgers got to win 3. Dodgers do it. Game 7 was fun in that Braves-Dodgers game. I mean, just home runs and great plays all around. I mean, if you're a pitcher, not much to cheer for, but great Game 7. I know a lot of people hate the Dodgers. It's everything against the Dodgers, but you got to the Dodgers are one of the best teams. They're the best team in baseball this year, and they're one of the best teams in recent years. And it just shows that they come back down from 3-1 to a talented young Braves team, missing every single starting pitcher they could. So Rays Dodgers World Series, games 1 and 2 have happened this week, I believe. So Game 1 was Tuesday, Game 2 was Wednesday, Game 3 I believe is tonight. So Dodgers take Game 1 pretty easily, I'll say. Kershaw pitched a gem, proving all the doubters wrong. Playoff Kershaw has been bad in the past, but this year, not as bad. But this World Series, great game from Kershaw. Last night, Blake Snell, same thing for the Rays. Blake Snell was incredible, couldn't get hit, didn't go quite as long as, Rays fans would have wanted him to, or he wanted to. He went, I believe, 4.2 with 8-9 strikeouts. He killed it, unhittable. Rays win that game off Brandon Lau, 2 home runs. Finally getting a hot bat, picking up his streak. Because he was terrible against the Astros. But Game 3 tonight. Initially, I had Dodgers in 7. The way it's looking, it's still looking like Dodgers in 7. But a lot of people have Dodgers in 6. The Rays are not going to give up. They are a scrappy team. A lot of names you probably haven't heard of. They're small market. Dodgers complete opposite. You've heard of everyone on their team because they've all played all-star seasons for other teams. Mookie Betts he won MVP of Game 1. I think Lau won Game 2, but if the Dodgers win, Mookie Betts is finally picking it up because he didn't have a great Braves series. Keep an eye with that. I know baseball's not fun to watch, but at least look into it. For some of you that don't like watching it, I'll be watching it. But yeah, maybe the Rays can get their first World Series. Maybe the Dodgers can get their first in a while. After losing 3 in the past 2 years, I believe, or 4 years, I believe, because they lost the Astros, lost the Red Sox. Oh no, this is their third. This is their 4th year. If they lose this year, though, I don't know what else to do if you're the Dodgers. You've had 3 great teams. You lose 3 times. Obviously that Red Sox team was incredible, but if you lose this year, you lose to a questionable Rays team, and you've already lost to the cheating Astros. Nothing else. You just keep building, keep hoping. You did sign Mookie Betts to a long-term deal. Sorry, Red Sox fans, if you're watching him go off. It's got to be tough, but yeah, World Series will be over in 5 or 6 days, or 5 or less days. And then we'll just be at football from that point on for a while. So make sure to check out next week's episode. I'll try to get some guests on. If not, it'll just be me here alone. We'll be trying different segments. I think I like the betting segment. We'll stick to football. We'll talk World Series. And we'll see y'all next week.